Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Frank. Okay, I will try to share with you my experience in what has been I say a disclaimer. I'm not a technology expert. I'm a procurement specialist. I've been in procurement for more than 20 years in many different groups of companies, some bigger, some smaller, all of them with different stages of digitalization. Earlier today, I posed a question to Nicole on how do you, let's say, demonstrate the value that digitalization brings to everyday work. Because today, I wouldn't say many companies, but probably most of the companies, procurement is still seen as a cost center, and not as a profit center. So to defend an investment in technology for procurement, the very first question you receive in probably 2 seconds, okay, how better is going to be the price? How much are you going to save? What's the return on investment? And these are hard questions to answer when you still don't have the numbers. It's Nicole. I summarize it in the you have to believe. And in my experience, I come from Techint group of companies where they strongly believe in IT, and they developed 20 years ago a first marketplace for raw materials, but also for all the indirect procurement. And then they upgraded it for many years until they built an in-house software solution for themselves. And then you go to some other companies in which they say, okay, no, but we are okay as we are now. We don't really need to change anything. What's the benefit? What's in it? So I'm taking Frank's statement. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. At some companies, it's still a matter of if. So I want to share with you some insights on how to pose this subject, and how do I think we should, as procurement officers, try to push for more digitalization, and then how and when shall we do this? So first question I'm trying to answer is why? Why would do we need to go for digital? We have 2 big challenges. I sum up in 2. The first one is being disruption. Disruption is probably, we hear this word every other day. It's probably, we have a disruption every week. Now it's the new normal. We talking about the last 3 years. We have coronavirus. Then we have Russian invasion to Ukraine, logistics, supply chain disruption. You couldn't find a container. The demand probably grew 10 times in less than 6 months. All the supply chain was empty. You need to fill the pipeline again. So this has been a really big challenge. And the ones that were able to act quickly and to react and to move fast had an advantage for sure. And this in the end cost less. It's again back to the how do you demonstrate the benefit? It's hard to say, okay, what would have happened if we didn't have this tool? And then disruptions are not only global or not only affecting the whole market. You have then the ferrochrome market disruption when China one day decided that the Inner Mongolia was polluting a lot, and so they shut down 30% of the supply in China, and that created a whole mess in the rest of the world. You couldn't find ferrochrome, so the earlier you know, the earlier you can react. The second challenge is complexity. We are facing each time with more regulation, with compliance issues, compliance requirements. It's, I wouldn't say outdated, it's almost ridiculous that we still do bidding through email and through one buyer that is receiving one offer and then the other offer from a transparency compliance standpoint. We need to guarantee that there is a fair competitiveness between or among the suppliers. Then you have the sanctions that myself, I had to read all these Russian steel sanctions. It's very hard to get into the detail. Then you talk to someone and say, no, okay, don't worry, this is for that particular product. But it's getting each time more complex. ESG risks, have some experiences with ferroalloys and the mining industry being a risky industry from an ESG standpoint, sustainability, CO2 footprint, CBAM, you name it. It gets complex by the month probably, and to list some of the benefits of digitalizations, I try to sum them up in 4 pillars. One is transparency. As said, we need to be to grant a fair competitiveness among suppliers in the bidding process, to set a fair price or a competitive price for our company against our competitors. Digitalization can help us know the counterparty, trackability, traceability. We can know where the material is coming from, where is it at each particular time during the lead time. I remember last year tracking containers through the Mediterranean to understand where the material was, when was it going to arrive, to avoid emergency buying, efficiency. Some of the topics have already been shared, risk management, ESG, final risk. And the 4th pillar, power of data, this is probably, for me, the more powerful and the more hard to probably demonstrate, but this is something that you need to invest your time to develop, but you can reap out much more benefits here. Let me try to share some example. A couple of weeks ago, with a demo in Metal Hubs, they were sharing some numbers proving how much more expensive it was to buy in an emergency situation rather than a standard lead time. If you buy a truck of FIMO for 2 weeks delivery, or if you buy it for next month, and you have a number to show and to defend and to say, okay, we need to have at least 1 month of stock on Earth to avoid. Why? Because it will cost 7% yearly. It will cost 3%. So you start to get numbers to, again, going back to the first question, to prove that there is value in this digitalization process. Again, it's hard sorry, I changed the order later, but okay, this is part of the what to do. So the second question I want to address is okay, let's say that we are convinced that we should go into digitalization. What should we do? One aspect of this question is, okay, what can technology do? What can digitalization do? This is value to the business, difficulty to implement, and then define, okay, what should I do? This is the hardest part of any technology development, to answer that question, because what happened, easy. Why did it happen? Probably still easy. What will happen is harder, but in the right-hand chart, there is also a 2x2 matrix where it's harder to access information and harder to integrate. And probably for the raw materials, commodity market outlook report, which is in the upper right corner of the matrix, it's hard to read a commodity report because there are so many things that depend on each other. You see ferrosilicon and you see Chinese price, FOB rising, and when will that impact in Europe when you see the Rhine River level is going down, so that might trigger some logistics trouble, so prices might pick up. Grain from Ukraine is filling a port. There are so many different data, so many different numbers and data to evaluate, where I think technology here can give us a really fair advantage, because machine can analyze data much better than we do, and they can. This is something I have seen in the logistic industry with machine learning, that you send data to the model, and then the model gives you some probability of something happening, and say, okay, last time all of this happened, all of these movements in price and ports and stocks happened, the probability of a price increase is 70%. That is not what will happen, but it's what might happen, that it's pretty close. It's probably the second best answer that you can have. What should I do? This is something that I still think it will remain on our hands, on the management side. Something earlier today mentioned about these two chatbots negotiating a price. I think that it won't end in that. And let me share quickly a brief experience on some other industry, on the recruiting industry. I had a friend who is looking for a job. He built up his resume, and then he found out that it's not an actual person on the other side reading his resume, but it's a bot who is searching for some specific words. If those words are not there, the resume is discarded. If those words are there, it goes through to a second step. So there are some solutions that offer another bot to help you build your resume. So you get the bot that is helping you to build a resume, and the bot that is reading. And in the end, how long can that last? Sooner or later, we'll get back to people adding the value there, because they say, okay, I need to include these words, but probably to avoid, because it wouldn't make sense in a sentence, I write them with white ink in the bottom of the CV, so that the bot reads it and it pops up as it increases my probability of being called. So this is something that does not make sense in the long term. So I think that the part of what should I do, it can suggest, technology can help us, can show us some scenarios, but it will still remain on us. About the Gartner hype cycle that Frank showed earlier today, this is something from us as decision makers. So when should we go for it? What technology should we adopt? This is a pretty simple cycle, and this is something that I think it was Accenture's presentation, where you see, okay, 2019, 2022, what was the development of each technology? And you say, okay, I feel comfortable in joining the technology when it's in the final stage and it's mature, and I can, the risk of having it wrong is less. You can do that. You can join, let's say, anytime you want based on your risk instinct or adversity. But bear in mind that, again, we in procurement, we also compete for the investments with sales, with production. You buy a furnace, you know that you will get X ton per month or per year more. If you develop a new product, or you go for a new quality certificate that you need a specific lab machine or lab testing equipment, it's a return on investment that is very easy to prove. So procurement is slightly tougher for the many of you who are selling solutions or digital solutions to procurement. This is probably the struggle that we are in. AI is probably now everywhere. I think I receive once a week an email from a new AI developer that has some new ESG tool or CO2 measurement tool, fantastic, that solves all of your problems. But then the number that Christophe shared 10 minutes ago, that's also true, 75%. It's incredible. I've seen this in the last, through my experience. If there's no top management production, the Nicole saying you have to believe, and the top management has to believe that there is value here, and you do not sponsor the project, you end up in years of paying the project, then the software as a service, and then you end up spending €500,000 and you still don't have the dashboard that was shown to you in the demo. So this is we need to carefully pick what we are going to do and do it well. So this is a summary of the procurement cycle, and I listed some of the solutions that are there. For me, it does not make sense to develop an in-house system for many of these things that are already solved. You go to the shelf and you pick the correct or the right BPO, and the solution is there. You just need to implement it, because you can still buy the solution from the shelf, but if you don't teach the people, train the people to use it, if you don't rip out the KPIs, if you don't use the data, what's the sense of having the data in the first place? Last, how should we approach this, or what could I suggest to you in this regard? I think that there's no one single answer, because there's not one single reality. One company is different from the other. The headaches that you have might be different. The headaches I might have. So I think you should take your time to understand your need, to select what need or what problem or what challenge are you intending to solve, and then select and see what's in the market, have these interviews, see the demos of the products. But the more you invest in this part of the project, the bigger the benefits you will have in the end, because you will be more accurate and you will be more precise on what is it that you need to get. Then the second step, integrate. The third step in the diagram: engage and develop, integrate, train your team. This, if you don't if you're not there, if you do not push for the change, if you don't work with your people to take the leap, and people is always afraid of change and reluctant to a new SAP, to a new into a new office, to any change. You need to be there for them and to explain the benefits and to work together with them during that period. And then probably after 2 years, 3 years, depending on the size of the project, you will most probably there's some other new technology in the market. There is some other the same technology that you have, it probably improved. Something else replaced it. We are from the generation that we need to keep updated. We need to understand how the technology works, because you don't have to understand how it is programmed or how it works. How it is programmed, but you need to understand how it works, because otherwise it's not like you pay and you say, okay, give me this IT solution. I want to have the same demo and that's it. You need to customize it to your need. You need to invest to have the return on investment. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Javier. I mean, there was one slide, the power of data. I think that pretty much nails it down. A lot of people are, of course, investing into digital technologies to optimize the process, become more efficient. And I think you hit the nail on the head with, in procurement, you always get asked, what's the return on invest? And particularly there, 75%, if you combine that with the number, 75% of all technology implementations or digitalization projects do not show the results that people hope for. I have one question to you. What is it that companies like us, like MetalSub and other providers of digital solutions can do to help you, first of all, justify the cost for it, and number two, to make you successful with it? Is there anything that we can do? Because we are, of course, in a constant conversation with people like you, and we always wonder, what is it that we need to do to help you succeed?
Good question. Probably I would say with some topics are more, say, heated, or in some time of the year of I don't know. For now, CO2 is the new trend, and everyone is talking about CO2. So you include that, and probably it makes it look better for a internal selling standpoint. But I would say that to try to show the crude benefits of the platform in terms of many of them are intangibles, and so you say, okay, it's intangible. We cannot measure this. We can. And it's okay, because it's not possible to measure transparency or compliance or decision-making efficiency. But you say, okay, if you can make a decision in 2 hours rather than 5 days, how much does it cost? The time of the. It's hard to say that, but probably think on that, and then probably in this investment. These trials are probably something that it's a model that can help, particularly in procurement. Say, okay, why don't you I've seen in some other platform. Okay, why don't you try this? We as sales from the platform. We share. We invest some time. You use the demo if you're not happy with the results, but. I know American Express says after one year, 99% stays. So I give you not the first year for free, but I'm so confident on my solution that I can help you. I can meet you in the middle and say, okay, I also invest in you, and after a 1, 2, 3, 6 month period, let's see if you are convinced. If you have some numbers to show, or also sometimes it's not numbers, but it's just the experience. Sometimes when for people who is not friendly with digital, it's that they don't. It's hard for them to see and to visualize and to say, okay, what are you selling me? How is that difference? Okay, try it.
Thank you very much. Any further questions from the audience? I can only encourage you to ask questions. I think like some of you face similar challenges, so don't be shy. He's not biting. Well, if that's not the case, Javier, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Once again, the World for Sale.
Thank you.
Gives you some insights.
Okay.
And thank you very much
Thank
once
you,
again.
Frank.